See, if tribals have problem, so what would they do? They would react, they would resist, है ना? And the social movement can be a traditional classical movement, and then there could be new social movement. Classical movements are organized, right? That means they have a leader, they have their rank and file, a proper organizational structure is there, right? Classical movements are organized and leader movement, ठीक है? लीडर लेड मूवमेंट्स होते हैं ये, ठीक है? एंड in many cases they are anti-regime. Say for example, Naxalism is such. ठीक है? They can be secessionist movement. Say नागा नक्सलिज्म, नागा जो इंसर्जेंसी है वो secessionist हो सकते हैं. New social movement, they are unorganized. That means they are kind of leaderless movements, right? They revolve around some moral issues. Right? That can be tribal rights, farmer rights, so basically they revolve around some moral issues. ठीक है? They derive their support from multiple stakeholders. Support from multiple stakeholders. That can be media, right? Social media, intellectuals, activists, all of these support. ठीक है? They are not anti-regime, but they are anti-systemic. They are not anti-regime. ठीक है? Example of this, so anti-Vedanta movement, that is again against the Vedanta Alumina Limited, जो दोंगरिया कौंद वाला था. I believe you remember, मैंने पटनायक का पढ़ाया होगा, पटेल एंड दास का पटेल एंड दास का पढ़ाया था, फेलिक्स पेडेल, है ना? हाँ, सो डोंगरिया कौंद. फार्मर्स मूवमेंट जो हुआ था, जो अभी रिसेंटली 2 साल पहले, वो भी, राइट? सरदार सरोवर मूवमेंट जो था वो भी न्यू सोशल मूवमेंट ही था. लद्दाख वाला प्रोटेस्ट था वो भी न्यू सोशल मूवमेंट ही था, है ना? तो बिल्कुल. सो ऑल दीज आर, फार्मर्स अलग है, लद्दाख अलग है, न्यू सोशल मूवमेंट्स. ठीक है? सो लेट्स राइट अ लिटिल बिट अबाउट न्यू सोशल मूवमेंट in case it is asked. The new social movements are different from classical social movements. Right. The features of new social movement. Number one, they are unorganized. Second, lack ideological base. Third, arise due to strong interest group. For example, tribals. They are opposed to the tyranny of the state. अगला, opposed to the tyranny of the state. They are anti-systemic, not anti-regime. Revolve around moral issues. Derive support from multiple stakeholders. They are non-hierarchical. Right. They have limited lifespan. जैसे नक्सलिज्म तो चले ही जा रहा है, 16th से अभी तक खत्म ही नहीं हो रहा है. March is coming and we'll be able to eradicate it. That's our target also, and we are also on the very close end. It's almost going down. ठीक है, अभी थोड़े बहुत बचे हैं जो कहीं छुपे हुए, वो भी आ जाएंगे. Right. I visited a abandoned site of Naxals in 2014, I think, and they have quite a decent mechanism of training their guerrillas. Right, 1,000-meter shooting range was there with them. Generally, हमारे CRPF के पास पे एक ही है गुड़गांव में, है ना. तो you just see that they have created such a proper way of training their guerrillas, and they are much motivated than our forces. We are serving to meet the ends of our family, right? हमें तो बाहर निकलना पड़ेगा, and they are waiting on the top somewhere to just find one mistake that we are making, है ना. तो जो एनिमी होता है वो हमेशा एडवांटेज पे इसलिए होता है क्योंकि वो सिर्फ हमारी गलतियां ढूंढ रहा है. ठीक है. ओके, सो आई बिलीव यू हैव रिटन एंटी सिस्टम, एंटी रिजीम. ये एंटी सिस्टम है, एंटी रिजीम नहीं है. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट, they develop around some specific objectives and does not live beyond them. Next, they do not replace the classical moments, rather sometimes support them. Don't replace the classical moment, rather sometimes support them. ठीक है. इम्पैक्ट क्या होता है इन न्यू सोशल मूवमेंट का? अवेयरनेस among the locals and the public. Second, promotion of dialogue, next, these raise important questions regarding human rights, important questions about regarding human rights, ecology and moral issues, right? These movements integrate grassroots issues, with national developmental discourse. Integrate grassroots issues with national developmental discourse. Conclusion, would you be able to write? Why we are studying NSM, new social movements? We can understand the irritants, right, situations, and can formulate the policies according to that. So you can write that conclusion. ठीक है, एक वो लिख लेते हैं, एक मोमेंट और झारखंड मोमेंट लिख लेते हैं. Jharkhand movement resulted in creation of separate state of Jharkhand. So it was a socio-political movement for the creation of separate state of Jharkhand. Separate state of Jharkhand that involved the territory of Chota Nagpur region, inhabited mainly by Munda, Oraon, Ho, Santhal, Maler, जो याद आ रहा है, etc. ठीक है, हिस्ट्री ऑफ झारखंड मूवमेंट. पीटी में काम आएगा, एंथ्रो में नहीं, जो मैं लिखवा रहा हूं. ठीक है, किस में काम आएगा? प्रीलिम्स में. एंथ्रो में नहीं काम आएगा. 1912, व्हाट हैपेंड इन 1912? हिस्ट्री पढ़ लिया आप लोगों ने, मॉडर्न हिस्ट्री. व्हाट हैपेंड इन 1912? अब तो वैसे भी नहीं बोलोगे. टाइटैनिक उससे 1 साल पहले डूब गया था. क्या हुआ था? बिहार बंगाल से अलग हो गया था. बिहार and Odisha carved out of Bengal. So do write Bihar and Odisha carved out of Bengal. ठीक है. 1914 ताना भगत मूवमेंट. ताना भगत मूवमेंट started by Jatra Bhagat. Against Britishers and landlords. 1915 छोटा नागपुर उन्नति समाज was formed 1915. Chota Nagpur Unnati Samaj was formed 1938. That was reorganized as Adivasi Mahasabha. 38. That was reorganized as Adivasi Mahasabha by Jayapal Munda. जयपाल सिंह मुंडा हॉकी प्लेयर थे ये, नेशनल लेवल के, who also participated in Constituent Assembly and all. जयपाल सिंह मुंडा. The surname Singh indicates a lot. That indicates that in 1946, if a tribal Munda is writing Singh, that's a Hindu surname, isn't it? Kshatriya surname basically. Okay? That shows Kshatriyization of some tribals over there. Do right, 1946, Adivasi Mahasabha fought the election for Constituent Assembly. Right, but was not successful. 1950, it was reorganized into Jharkhand Party. Jharkhand Party also was not very successful over a time period. And in 1967, it merged with INC, Congress. 67 merged with INC. INC, Indian National Congress. 72, Jharkhand Mukti Morcha was founded by Shibu Soren. Jharkhand Mukti Morcha was, right? Shibu Soren. ठीक है? So this party led the Jharkhand movement, and in 2000, Jharkhand became a separate state. Jharkhand became a separate state. Ramdayal Munda gave 4 regions for Jharkhand movement. Number 1, Ramdayal Munda, that day we were talking about, anthropologist, folklorist, Rajya Sabha MP, and tribal right activist. Ramdayal Munda gave 4 regions for Jharkhand movement. Number 1, land and forest alienation. Second, training and job deprivation. Training and job deprivation due to influx of outsiders. Third, cultural submergence. Four, unbalanced regional development. ठीक है. So first heading, land and forest alienation. Land and forest alienation. According to Munda, various industrial projects such as Tisco, Coal India, HEL, Damodar Valley Corporation, ठीक है, resulted in forest destruction and land alienation among the tribals. He argued that 50 to 60% of the tribal land went into the non-tribal hands. 50 to 60% of the land went into the non-tribal hands. "50 to 60% of the land of the tribals went into the non-tribal hands." Second, training and job deprivation. In 1951, the tribal to non-tribal population ratio was 60 to 40. Hmm. 60 to 40. In 1981, it was reversed, 40 to 60. Reversed, 40 to 60. That means पहले 60% ट्राइबल थे, 40% नॉन ट्राइबल थे. अब 40% ट्राइबल रह गए, 60% नॉन ट्राइबल. Within the matter of just 30 years, the situation reversed. That is because of the influx of outsiders. ठीक है. Now, most of the skilled jobs went either to the outsiders or to the non-tribal population of Jharkhand. ठीक है. Third, cultural submergence. Deforestation. Displacement, marginalization, resulted in the loss of culture as well as subordination of tribal culture by the mainstream culture. Tribal culture. Next, unbalanced regional development. According to him, Chota Nagpur region contribute 70% of the state revenue of Bihar, whereas expenditure on this part was 20%. That means क्या हो रहा था? यहाँ के रिसोर्सेस नॉर्थ बिहार में लागू हो रहे थे. On this part was only 20%. झारखंड इज बेसिकली साउथ बिहार, दैट इज अ ट्राइबल बिहार. यहाँ के रिसोर्सेस नॉर्थ बिहार पे खर्च हो रहे थे. दैट वाज द ग्रीवेंस ऑफ द पीपल ऑफ झारखंड. कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस क्या हुए ऑफ दिस मोमेंट? सो झारखंड फॉर्मेशन है ना, ट्राइबल आइडेंटिटी असर्शन, कल्चरल रिवाइवलिज्म, and also radicalization. ठीक है. So Jharkhand movement was a unique moment in the political history of India. Conclusion लिख लो. It was a unique moment in the political history of India that highlighted not just the imbalanced development, rather voice of the marginalized tribes too. Voice of the marginalized tribes too. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट, ताना भगत मोमेंट, ये भी कर ही लेते हैं. ये लिखा हुआ. ताना भगत movement was a tribal socio-cultural movement, led by Jatra Bhagat in 1914 against Britishers and landlords, moneylenders, for land alienation as well as exploitation of the tribals. This movement mainly involved Oraon community of Chota Nagpur, main features of this movement. Number one, this movement emphasized a return to pure or traditional way of life, that align with traditional cultural values, Next, this movement rejected British rule and sought to remove any kind of foreign influence sought to remove any kind of foreign influence. Next, this movement had strong religious undertone. Religious undertone. The followers refrained from consuming alcohol and practiced vegetarianism. Vegetarianism. How can tribals be vegetarian? Answer this question. Sometimes I agree, but strict adherence to vegetarianism require a sufficient supply of food. Non-vegetarian was just survival instinct. Vegetarianism is a choice of abundance. है ना, ऐसा ही थोड़ी ना कि आप वेजिटेरियन हो जाओगे. Vegetarianism is a choice. Right? For survival, Brahmins have different culture or in Mithilanchal. Survival है वो. If there is availability, they might not have eaten. Nowadays, there are many Brahmins that they are going towards the pure living standards. They don't even consume onion or garlic in the same region, but that's a choice. And that comes from abundance, है ना? ऐसा नहीं है कि vegetarianism, non-vegetarianism. So do right. The movement adopted Gandhian principles of satyagraha. Tana Bhagat next opposed to British imposed land revenue system. British imposed land revenue system. Opposed the British imposed land revenue system and refused to pay land revenue. है ना. अब गांधी जी ने तो अपने तरीके 1915 में शुरू किए थे चंपारण से, 14 में शुरू हो गया था. So idea of that kind of resistance, of disobedience, was in the air of India, isn't it? The idea was in the air of India, but right now we call this as a Gandhian principle. But Gandhi ji is yet to start his experiment. He started particularly in 1917, not even 15, isn't it? वापस आ रहे थे वो, तो भ्रमण कर रहे थे वो. Right? Okay. Impact of Tana Bhagat movement. Number one, they actively supported freedom struggle. Second, it also provided the ideological base for Jharkhand movement. ठीक है. Next, Tana Bhagat movement was a reform movement that had socio-political significance for Chota Nagpur, significance for the Chota Nagpur region. ठीक है. Now tell me, what is the significance of forest for the tribal life? So number one, food is coming from there, right? Their livelihood of any kind, their subsistence is derived from the forest. Second, shelter is also there in the forest. Third, their sacred groves are there, and they also have some kind of totem relationship, kinship relationship with the forest and some of the species. Many kind of rituals are being performed in that forest ecology. What else? Okay, their ethnomedicine is also derived from the forest. Okay, what else? What else? One hand you are looking at social organization, one hand you are looking at the economic organization, one hand you are looking at the political organization, the politics, the clan politics is also starting from there, from where the legitimacy come through the gods. Gods live in the forest, so there's a political dimension to it also, right? There is a medical dimension to it. Ethnomedicine are derived from there. ठीक है. So ecology, फॉरेस्ट प्रोडक्ट्स तो इकोनॉमी मार्केटिंग वाला भी लॉजिक है. ठीक है. तो if forest is so important, so if someone want to take away the rights of forest is something around which life of an average tribal revolves, right? So how? So their totem, that means their kinship is in the forest or the forest species, right? Their other gods, they live in the sacred grove. ठीक है. What else? Say medicine, food, so that can be their khallu, है ना, slash and burn agriculture. That could be hunting and gathering or fishing. What else? Shelter is also there in the forest. Right? In the totemic clans and political leadership. Right? Even you can talk about Bongaism. Right? Tribals live in the forest for thousands of years, and they are living in a symbiotic relationship with the forest. ठीक है? The Indian rulers, the kingdoms, hardly interfered with the tribal life. But the advent of the colonial power, especially the Britishers, they started penetrating into the forest pockets. And when they entered into the forest, they started exploiting the forest resources. That exploitation of forest resource resulted in the clash between the tribals and the colonial power. Later on, the colonial power aimed to establish the railway line. So they thought of scientifically managing the forest resources. So they appointed a conservator of forest in 1850. That was not sufficient. In 1855, they came up with the first forest policy under Lord Dalhousie. 1865, they came up with a Forest Act. 1878, they came up with another reformed act. 1894, they came up with the forest policy. 1927, they came up with the Forest Act. And that is the Forest Act that we are still using. After independence in 1952, we came up with a new forest policy. That forest policy, it is said, was much restrictive than even the 1894 policy. Okay? Independent India, the free Indians thought that now resources are ours. Tribals also felt that resources are ours now. Because till now, Britishers have deprived us of our own resources. But it was more restrictive. It is said by, it was suggested by UN Debhar and many other anthropologists. So the 1952 policies, that started from 52 and it lasted up to 1988. In 1988, a new forest policy came up on the recommendations of B.K. Roy Burman Committee. And that committee recommended that tribals should be considered as partners for the management of the forest, for the restoration of the forest. And from that policy came the idea of social forestry, joint forest management, and that's how 1988 policy became the watershed in the protection of forest resources. Okay? And empowerment of tribal people. This 1988 policy was very good, and in 2006 we came up with a Forest Right Act, in which scheduled tribes and other traditional forest dwellers, they were given some individual property rights, community rights, use rights. Right? Their Gram Sabha was empowered to take decision about the land alienation and all these things. Right? Now we are considering to you can say modify the 1927 Act. The talk is going on for a long time. I don't know when will it happen, but definitely it would happen. Other than that, there are many other laws that deal with the forest. That could be Wildlife Act. That could be National Tiger Conservation Program, right, through NTCA. Okay, then it could be that Campa Act, compensatory afforestation, कि आप निकोबार से तो फॉरेस्ट हटाओ और हरियाणा में लगा दो. कंपनसेटरी एफोरेस्टेशन होता है कि फॉरेस्ट फॉर फॉरेस्ट, तो जो ग्रेट निकोबार का जो फॉरेस्ट डिग्रेड होगा उसके लिए कहाँ लगाया जाएगा? हरियाणा में लगाया जाएगा. ठीक है, दैट इज व्हाट द प्रपोज्ड थिंग इज. यू रीड इन द न्यूज़पेपर्स एंड रिपोर्ट्स, यू विल फाइंड इट. So this is what is going to happen. So today I have provided you a little idea of what is the significance of forest in the tribal life, number one. Number two, I have given you a proper timeline how things have moved from the pre-British time to the British time and then post-independence time. So pre-British, during the Mughal era, hardly there was interference in the tribal life. Tribal were the masters of the forest. They were the rulers of the forest. Britishers deprived them of their rights. The master was dethroned. Master was deprived of its own rights and privileges. They are dependent on the Britishers. And in many cases, as and when a protected forest was there, and if the cattle of the tribal trespass that area into the protected forest or the reserved forest, what would happen? That community may be branded as a criminal tribe because उनके खून में क्राइम है, एक बार समझाने के बाद भी उनके कैटल मान नहीं रहे हैं, isn't it? बट ब्रिटिशर्स भी ऐसे ही कैटल थे, उनको भी इतनी बार समझा दिया बट वो भी नहीं मान रहे थे ऐसे जाने के लिए, राइट? दे वर बिहेविंग इन द सेम वे दैट द ट्राइबल कैटल्स वर बिहेविंग, है ना? लोगों ने भी तो 1857 से बोलना शुरू कर दिया तुम जाओ यहाँ से, बट दे आर नॉट रेडी टू गो, बट दे आर बिहेविंग द सेम वे एज द कैटल्स वर बिहेविंग. बट yes, so now we can say we have that power. At that time we did not have, so we could not say at that time. Right now we have that freedom to say that. So what I'm saying, that how Britishers used to treat the tribal people and how they used to label them as criminal tribes, क्योंकि उनको right से deprive कर दिया, and now they have declared that this area is a reserve forest, this area is a protected forest, and this could be used by them. Now, how come a tribal person who is living in the forest come to know about that thing, that this area is a completely protected zone? Suppose he knew about it, what about their cattle? But if they do trespass, so in many cases they were beaten, they were fined, they were monetary fines, and in many cases they were, right? So that started with 1855 policy, and it was consolidated to a greater degree in 1865, 1878, right? And then 94. Okay? 1927 they came up with a full-fledged Indian Forest Act. जिसमें वो हर चीज को define कर देते हैं. What is a tree, right? What is you can say grass, what is a herb, everything is defined in there. How you would use the forest resources, right? So everything is defined. What kind of punishments are there? Everything is defined. 1952 was the first forest policy of independent India that replaced 1894 policy. And Debar says 1894 की policy ज़्यादा better थी. ठीक है? Then next policy came in 1988. In between जो Wildlife Act and all these acts also came. ठीक है? And then we have 2006 Act, Forest Right Act. That's the latest one. Okay? 88 policy is important because social forestry started from there, as well as joint forest management also started there. What is social forestry? Basically growing of forest for the social use. That means the benefit would be taken by the people who grow the forest. So it could be rural forestry, it could be urban forestry. That means urban belt के ऊपर कहीं पे भी common areas में लगाना, that is for the public to get the benefits from that land, right? It could be agroforestry, that means growing the crops and the forest together. That means side में trees लगा दिया और बीच में crop लगा दिया. That could be farm forestry. Farm forestry means पूरे farm के अंदर हमने forestry उगा दिया. There's a difference between agroforestry and farm forestry. ठीक है? And then there could be you can say rural common resource, वहां पे forestry कर देना. ठीक है? Urban forestry you know. Joint forest management क्या होता है? इसमें the forest department and the tribal people or the rural people, they come together. Forest department would provide the resources, say saplings and all, as well as the training to the people. People would grow those forests, manage the forest, take away the benefits. That means, say, fruits are there from that tree, so they are taken. If any other byproduct is there, that is taken by them, right? But they are also managing that tree. So forest department and the local people come together, benefits are shared basically or taken by the people. Okay? This is joint forest management. Both of these things seems good but have consequences. When we started social forestry, so one of the most visible tree that you see is eucalyptus, and it results in allelopathy. Have you studied that in geography? Allelopathy means it doesn't allow other trees to grow. It takes away water, and the leaves that are shed from the eucalyptus tree, they are acidic in nature. It contains chelates, so basically it does not allow other growth. So allelopathy एक फिनोमिना होता है, ठीक है. ज्वाइंट फॉरेस्ट मैनेजमेंट भी इतना इजी नहीं है. फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट हैज अ पैटर्नलिस्टिक एटीट्यूड, ब्यूरोक्रेसी है ना, राइट. सो ट्राइबल्स को ऐसे ट्रीट करते हैं, राइट. सो इन मैनी केसेस सबऑर्डिनेशन ऑफ ट्राइबल इंटरेस्ट हो जाता है, right. So all these things we are going to discuss tomorrow. We'll start with them and then we will move on to other areas. Some other moments we'll discuss slowly and steadily, but question can be, say Tana Bhagat moment, these moments can be asked अगर किसी को लग गया तो, है ना. अब मैं जब लिखवाता हूँ तो बड़ा रिलैक्सिंग होता है आपके लिए. I feel that, है ना, it's meditating for you. और जब मैं आपको थोड़ा सा कंटेंट ज्यादा दे देता हूं और उसमें आपको लिखना पड़ता है, तो दैट्स प्रॉब्लमेटिक फॉर यू, इजंट इट? व्हाई इट इज सो? बिकॉज यू नीड टू प्रोसेस. बट if I give you this way, say I have given it for new social movement or something, it's very defined. It can be written in that manner. On health, on alienation, on any other aspect, question would not be same. Question would not be very simple, right? Question would be, you can say, a very fluid, a very dynamic, a multi-dimensional question. It may connect multiple dimensions. So if I would be giving you, I would be fixing your mind in a compartment that you won't be thinking beyond. You're getting my point here? If I just, have given you a write-up on caste on some topics and did not tell you about different scholars, would you be able to use them from one area to the another area? Would be able to jump? So the idea is that you should be taking up these scholars from one place to the another and just place as and when required. So both approaches are needed. Sometimes, yes, I would relax you, help you in meditation. But जब दिमाग सो रहा होता है तुम्हारा, meditation नहीं, तुम योग निद्रा कर रहे होते हो उस moment पे, right? Your ears are listening, but body is sleeping, isn't it? That's what Yog Nidra is. I have taught you another thing, right? So see you then tomorrow. All the best. जो नहीं लिखा था और जिसने मुझे नहीं भेजा था वो लिख के जाएगा, स्कॉलर्स का सिनॉप्सिस, ठीक है? चलिए.